Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action once again live here at SimPlay Motorsport with the GT4s on track this evening. We are stateside. We are in Indianapolis for the third round of the season, and we have got the GT4s on track at this moment. Don't worry, guys, this is not a night race. This is an early morning race. Obviously, these guys will be starting in the dark and working their way into the day. But nonetheless, hello, everyone, and good evening. Nice to see you all in the chat. Let's hear from you guys. Let's hear you supporting your drivers as well, as we've got an exciting week's worth of racing coming up ahead of us. And like I said, it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious here at Indianapolis, and definitely something to look forward to tonight. So let's have a quick look at this fabulous circuit that is Indianapolis, known as the Brickyard, and obviously famously for the Indy 500s, but obviously we are using the GP loop this season. The loop that doesn't get used anymore, it's a loop that hasn't, we got a bit of the motorcycle section added to it, and you got the old Grand Prix layout as well, but the length is 2.4 miles long, 3.9 in kilometers. There's 15 corners, 5 to the left and 10 to the right. Pole position is on the right side, with the ACC lap record going away of a 1:34.0. That is held by the Ford Mustang, and the most successful driver around this circuit is myself. And obviously, due to the fact that most of the corners are to the right-hand side, that also affects a lot of the tires. That will basically see most of the drivers will struggle tonight with the inside tires being the right side tires, because they ain't getting very much load. They're going to struggle to get temperature and keep them up to date as they go along. So we'll see how the drivers get along. Also, due to the conditions tonight, as you can see, like I said, we're early mornings. The session started at 6 in the morning. We are now coming into 7 o'clock in the morning, and track temperature is 10 degrees. Very cold conditions here, and the track is struggling to get up to pace. We're currently sat at a fast pace with a bit of overcast as well, so cars are really struggling to put grip down and get to the optimum session that we are so used to running in. Obviously, a quick reminder as well on your screen is the 24 hours of the Nürburgring event holding in the bank holiday weekend in May the 3rd, and this is an event obviously kind of led by Paul Williams, and it is us fighting against cancer. 24 hours around the Nordschleife, our fight against the circuit as we take on the dreaded cancer, and us try and fight our way to stopping this horrible disease taking more and more lives. So please support us for that one when it comes to the May bank holiday weekend. And also, if you are a driver as well and you're currently in the stream and currently want to had a little bit more privilege and a bit more help, then have a look at our Patreon. SimPlay drivers get a £3 per month, and you get to reserve your race number, you get access to sign-ups and events, track suggestions in the future, pre-season promos, and your links will automatically get shared as well. And like I said, we are here at Indianapolis for the next round of the season. And this is what the rest of our calendar looks like. Like I said, Indianapolis for round 3. Round 4, we head down under to Bathurst Mount Panorama for round 4. Round 5 will be Silverstone. Round 6 will be Kyalami. Round 7 will be our first official night race at Imola, while round 8 will be the Nürburgring. Round 9 was our second night race at the Red Bull Ring, followed by Alton Park for round 10. Watkins Glen is round 11, and round 12 is Donington Park. So there you go, guys. That is what the calendar looks like, and that is what we expect to see for the rest of the season. Regarding the championship standings for the GT4s, they look like this. Obviously, you won't be able to see it, but I can see it on my screen. It is Tordock leading the way with 108 points to his name. He's only 6 points ahead of Kieran O'Reilly in second. Third is Fraser O'Brien. Fourth is Jamal Cloudens. Fifth is Silth 1/6 is Will Friedman. 7th is Hubert, as I've been getting his name wrong, as I keep saying it in French for some reason. I don't know why. Someone was probably telling me in French, but I didn't mean to do it in French. It's Hubert in P7. P8 is Hunt, with P9 is Duff and McGowan in P10. While Myers in P11, Hibbs P12, Benrock P13. 14th is Unsworth. 15th is Wright. 16th is Old Sim Racer. While in 17th is Ramsell. Stardog 18th, 19th is Johnson, 20th is Fernie, and 21st is Taylor. Cummings in 22nd, with Leach in 23rd, Skunky in 24th, Marsden in 25th, while Aberdeen's in 26th, 27th is Smith, while Millington is in 28th, Vesley is in 29th, 30th is Tipping, 31st is Betterson, Jackal in 32nd, Wheel in 33rd, Carball in 34th, Andrews 35th, Carlos 36th, Goudet in 37th. And that is a rundown of your championship standings for the drivers. The teams, on the other hand, it is MSA Racing leading the way with quite a healthy gap of 81 points ahead of the Greasy Bandits Racing. Unknown Racing sat in 3rd, while Old School Racers in P4, Quadrant Motorsport in that P5, Quantum Motorsport in that P5, while SimPlay Racing is in P6. P7 is Piston Pumpers, Piston Pumpers, while Cam Racing is in 8th. P9 is Team Tom, Blunt Force Racing is P10, Piston Pounders are in 11th, Audio Sport in 12th, while 13th is RB GT Team, and in 14th is Old Git Racing, with Cloud9 Racing in that 15th place position. So those are the championship standings, and obviously the way this works tonight is these guys will also have weight added onto their cars. And let's have a look on the tables who is carrying that weight. Will Friedman at the top of the session. He's currently got 15 kilos added to his car, while Clouden has 25. 20 for Silth, 35 for O'Reilly, and your championship leader Tordog has got 40 on board. We've got Herbert, who's carrying 10 kilos, while Hunt is carrying the 5. And those are the drivers that are carrying the ballast here tonight. I've also got a keyboard so I could change cameras, so we should have some great shots here tonight. Let's have a test out. Yep, we can go on board with O'Reilly, and he's right up the back bunker of 114. I believe that is Unsworth. Yes, it is. We go on the out. There we go. Camera's working beautifully there, as they should, and we should enjoy all the fun action here tonight as they head up towards turn number 1. Like I said, it's a very tricky circuit to get right. As Tordog there just sending it up the inside and sneaking his way through. So I said the reverse grid is going to be based on the championship standings. So what can the guys do from the back of the pack? Can they work their way forward and try and gain as many points as they possibly can? That is the question. Who are you guys supporting here tonight? Like I see Gary Clarball, nice to see you in the chat. Evening to you, and evening to everybody else who is here this evening. Who we got our money on tonight? As the MSA boys have come up and turned up into SimPlay Motorsport and really just grabbing all of our championships by the scruff of the neck. They seem to be really on top form at the minute. Regarding the GT4s, and obviously in the pro category as well. In the Mustangs, they seem very, very strong and competitive, and obviously the Porsche and the Chevy Camaro, they look very good as well. But Herbert and Goudet at the minute in the other Chevy seem to be struggling. Clouden did say he was struggling to me just beforehand in the Chevy Camaro, but we'll see how they get on. Obviously conditions are going to change very quickly in a minute as we go into the sprint race. As we get onto the topic of the sprint race, let's talk about the format here tonight. We start things off with a sprint race. 20 minutes is the length of the race. and there will be one mandatory pit stop. They only have to add a litres worth of fuel. Once they've added that 1 litre, that is pretty much it. It's going to hold them for 25 seconds. If they choose to do so and change tyres, that is an additional 5 seconds added on top. And that is the sprint race with the reverse grid, obviously based on the championship standings. Then we go into a quick break as the drivers get themselves relaxed and cooled off, ready to go for the qualifying session. Qualifying for the GT4s is very different and very unique. We only got a 5-minute qualifying session. All out, flat out, for 5 minutes, who can take the prize at the end of the qualifying session. That will then determine the grid going into the feature race. The feature race, only 45 minutes, not an hour like the GT3s. It is a 45-minute feature race. And then once we go from the feature race, we then head into that 45-minute race. Again, a mandatory pit stop is required. 25-second stop, and 1 litre of fuel is required as well. Again, tyres are optional if they want to, and it's basically lights to flag. Drivers are now getting themselves set up and ready to go in this first sprint race. And I will get a poll going on who you think is going to win this first one. And I will get the reverse grid up as well, so you guys can see who is where. But it's going to be an exciting night's worth of racing. I'm not sure what on earth that noise was that was in my room, so lovely. A big bang or some sort of noise just went off and scared the complete Jesus out of me. But also, I would like to say a massive congratulations to the main man himself, the league owner, Matthew Duffin. He is going to be starting down the owner, but he has, him and his partner have brought into this world a lovely baby boy named Ayrton Duffin, and a massive congratulations to those two, and hopefully they are doing well. Obviously, Matt is doing well because he's currently in the session ready to go racing. Reminder as well, if you're in the chat and you do want to be a part of the championship here, then head over to the Sim Grid. We have many events going on when it is the off season as well, so make sure you do that, and then get through the Discord and you can keep up to date with all the chat that's going on. Also, follow our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Audio Sport, Volkswagen, VW Transporter, T4 Audio Solutions and Styling Products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk, and also their Facebook link is in the bio as well. Right, drivers now heading down towards turn number 1. Let's get the reverse grid up, shall we? So here we are, Indianapolis Road Circuit, Motor Speedway, and this is what the grid is going to look like. It's going to be Archie on the front row with Goudet, with Carlos and Will taking up the second row. Then it's going to be Tipping and Vesely in that 5th and 6th place position. In the 7th and 8th place position is Millington and Smith. They'll be starting from the 7th and 8th place position. While we got Aberdeen starting in 9th, and 10th is Marston. That's row 5 for those guys. Row 6 is going to be Skunky and Cummings. They're going to be starting alongside one of our Taylor, and Fernie will start alongside in row number 7. Row 8 is Johnson and Stardog, while row 9 will be, well, it's updating for me now because Wheel hasn't made the start, so it's going to be Ramsell and Old Sim Racer starting on that row, with Unsworth and Wright starting alongside each other as well. Then it's going to be Hibbs in 20th position, with 21st will be Duffin, 22nd will be Hunt, while 23rd will be Herbert. 24th will be Friedman, 25th will be Silth, 26th will be Clouden, 27th is O'Reilly, and at the back, 28th position is that of Tordock. But it's going to be Archer starting on pole position here tonight, and it's going to be an exciting night of Weather Racing. Gary Leach, if he had made the session, would have been at the back of the pack. So there you go, guys. That is the grid order as we get ourselves into the final sector. And as I said, one driver did not make the start. That is going to be Wheel. He will start from pit lane. It is 2 Chevys here on American soil, 2 American cars starting on the front row. Who's going to take tonight's win? That is the question. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. As we're about to get things underway here for the first time tonight. That camera is not very good, so we'll go back to... Oh, I like having cameras. This is great. So they start 2 by 2 as they come down the main straight. And we are green and go here at Indianapolis for the first race this evening. As you can see, they're all fanning out. Multiple cars can go side by side. It is pretty much 5 or 6 cars in the actual race as John Goudet is looking to go around the outside of turn number 1. Look at the amount of cars as they head into turn number 1. As we go further back to see how they manage to get through. It's very congested in the middle, but they all managed to work their way through as Duffin's had a good start. And there is Silth, and just there is one of the Ginettas. There goes a Mercedes as well. That is old Sim Racer. And there's still 4 or 5 cars wide towards the back here, and then more chaos. Oh, and I think that's Hunt. Nearly rolling over there. He nearly went over on his side, but it's going to be Goudet who leads the way after the first couple of corners here and goes through the first sector. So it is Goudet leading the way, and as I let the tables update, it looks like Carlos is now making a move on Archer. Around the outside he comes, and everyone else working their way through the order as best they can. So it is an updated one. It is Goudet leading the way from Archer, from Carlos, from Millington, from Tipping, from Skunky, from Vesely, as we see Duffin and Fernie going side by side, and Fernie making contact there with Duffin. Ramsell right behind them, and it is Marsden, Smith, Cummings, Wright, Tordock has had a good start. Herbert up into 16, Unsworth, Hibbs, Silth, Clouden, O'Reilly, Friedman, Johnson, Aberdeen, Hunt, Taylor, Old Sim Racer, Stardog, and Wheel managing to get going at the front. But it is Goudet leading the way from Carlos as these 3 start to maneuver their way ahead. We'll head back to this fight at the minute, and Smith under some pressure here from the MSA boys. Both of them managing to work their way through the order. Meanwhile, O'Reilly is on the move. He is on the back of, I believe that is right, and we'll watch the pace of this McLaren. Is very strong in a straight line. Down the straight he goes. Very, very good in a straight line. And he manages to try and outbrake the Alpine, and into turn number 1 he goes. And I believe, yeah, Wright is still fighting out. He's still giving it a good go. And there's contact just ahead of these guys, so they've all had to check up a little bit, with Unsworth, I think, in the front of all this. But meanwhile, Duffin has now cleared Vesely and Fernie, so he's on the move as... Oh, there goes the Ginetta. Wide. That is Marston. He's gone wide, and he's going to be in this swamp of pack of cars now. Meanwhile, go back to the front. John Goudet is being hunted down by Carlos. Let's see if he can get anywhere near him. So Carlos trying humps him down. Archer goes a bit wide as Millington coming up behind him. And Duffin, meanwhile, look, 3 wide here as we go through there. Herbert, Vesely and Tordock, and both of these 2 MSA drivers working together to work their way through the pack as O'Reilly is racing Cummings, and he's going around the outside of him and gets the job done on him as well, as Cummings looking to the inside but can't quite get the job done. Meanwhile, further back, we've got Friedman, Hibbs, Wright, Clouden, and who's that? That's also Smith. All close together with one another. Clouden pushed out wide. He's not particularly too happy with that one as they all work their way through this order, and Clouden dropping down the order into the tight chicane. There you go. All very congested here. Hunt's going around the outside of Hibbs. He can't get the job done. Meanwhile, Carlos is on the attack of John Goudet. John goes a little bit deep into turn 1 there. but nothing he can do at this stage. Meanwhile, Skunky is having a much better start to this race. He's onto the back of Millington now, so he's working to try and make some places up. What else is going on? The MSA boys are working their way through, as now O'Reilly has cleared Vesely, so he's moved up another position. Marsden has dropped down behind Cummings and Silth, so Silth not had the best start either, so he's struggling to work his way up the order. So a lot of work for Silth and Friedman and O'Reilly to do at this minute. But at the stage, it is still Goudet leading the way. He's going a little bit deep there as Carlos gets a little bit quicker. Carlos got the fastest lap to his name. Archer, he hits the curb a little bit and becomes a little bit loose as they head towards the chicanes. And once again, the MSA boys are on the move. They're attacking Ramsell. Ramsell starting to become a lot of pressure from the Chevy and the Porsche. O'Reilly's now cleared Unsworth, so that's another position gain. And Vesely now is going a little bit deep. Pit window has now opened, and this pit lane is very awkward. If I get a driver, I will try and get a clip of them going into it. It is not the easiest pit lane to maneuver. It's any of the drivers wanting to come in. Yes, there is Tipping. He's coming in, and this is the pit lane. You come in, and as you come around the corner, the pit limiter is right about now, and you have to make sure you get down to that pace that is required. But either way, Carlos is putting Goudet under pressure here as they go through turn number 1. And still no opportunity for him to get through. Meanwhile, Skunky up the inside of Millington. Job done for him. And another position gain. Duffin trying to work his way through there. Meanwhile, Ramsell has cleared Fernie. That's another position gain. The Silth now sets fastest lap of the race. And he goes into 9th place position. Skunky now free to go and attack the leaders. And once again, Vesely under pressure, dropping down the order. The BMW just seems to be struggling here at this stage as everyone starts to work their way through. Through goes Wright, through goes Hibbs, and now it's Hunt's turn to have a go as a lot of cars are in the pits. Tipping, Herbert, Friedman, Tordok, a lot of cars in the pit lane at the minute, hoping to use that clean air and try and jump him, but with most of them in there, it is also going to congest them up as well. Loads of cars here in this gaggle of cars at the minute. Hunt having a great run through here. He's onto the back of Hibbs. He looks left. He's oh, and there goes that was Marston, and he goes off miles there. Clips the curb, goes rally crossing, and he's trying to keep it under control, but he just struggling to do so. But it's Herbert who comes out in front with Tordok, O'Reilly, Tipping, Friedman, Clouden, Taylor, Aberdeen and Wheel all pitting on that one as Goudet opts to pit now. And all that's done is just allowed Carlos some free air. And I think he may have made a mistake there, allowing him to get that clean air now. So Goudet thinking that now's the time to pit. He's the only one to pit on this lap so far. Anyone close to one another going down the straight. There comes Tipping. Is that Tipping or is it Aberdeen? I think it's Aberdeen. Yeah, Aberdeen coming back out on track. So he's ended up in the middle of all this as a lot more cars are in the pits. We are on board of old Sim Racer, and he's looking up the inside of the Porsche. And it seems to be Smith is the mobile chicane at the minute. You've got 3 cars behind him of Hibbs, Hunt and old Sim Racer. They're all trying to find a way through past the Aston Martin driver. Oh, and Hunt has gone a little bit wide. That's going to compromise his run and be under pressure from old Sim Racer. And he's going very deep, and old Sim Racer up the inside. Job done for him. Meanwhile, Skunky has caught Archer, and that's going to play into his hands. And also, Duffin has caught Millington. So the pace is starting to come to Duffin now. Meanwhile, Carlos with the clean air, pulling away. 6.9 is the gap to Archer. Is Carlos opting to pit now? No, he's not. Meanwhile, Duffin is still trying to attack Millington. Bouncing over the curb goes Millington, and Duffin all struggling for a little bit of grip here. But Carlos still continuing on in front. Goudet has come out, and he's still ahead of, I think, Herbert. Yes, he is. So Goudet still has the net race lead as it stands, but we'll have to wait and see where Carlos comes out in all of this. Meanwhile, Skunky still attacking Archer as they head down towards turn number 1. Duffin also looking to attack Millington. We've got Hibbs comes in, as does Hunt as well. So more cars coming into pit lane. But Skunky now pretty much pushing Archer. As Duffin, oh! Duffin has made contact with Millington. Major damage to Duffin's car. And he's trying to get it back on circuit as best he can. And he has done so, but damage to his car. As we go on board with Skunky, who is right up the rear wing of Archer. And they're just losing time, hand over fist to Carlos, and down the inside goes Skunky as he missed his brakes ever so slightly. He always had a little bit of a bump from Archer. And Archer keeps hold of the position. Skunky there just missing his brakes ever so slightly there, and still having to try and work his way back through the order. How far down did Duffin drop? In the end, he's behind Silth. So hasn't turned out too well, but as Goudet still comfortably out in front, as Herbert and Tordock still working together, but they're being hunted down by O'Reilly, who's really looked quite competitive in that McLaren, especially at Spa. He pretty much won every race. Didn't take fastest lap though, as Carlos now comes in, and so does Skunky as well. So Skunky opting for that free air, and through into the pits he comes. Millington and Ramsell are being harassed by Silth in the background, and up the inside goes Silth. Oh, and they make contact. They're still making contact. Interesting there. Not sure what was going on there. As Duffin's into the pits, as well as is Cummins. Old Sim Racers coming in as Rob Smith continues on through. So now Archer leads this race as they've got a car coming out of pit lane as well. And we're past the halfway stage, so I'll end the poll there. Majority reckon that it's either going to go the way of Will or Goudet as they go through these tight, twisty sections. And Silth has gained a position. He's moved up. He's got past Ramsell. And now he's on the hunt to Millington. There is Goudet. He's in the final sector as Carlos has gone green, so we should see how close this gets, but we'll go back to the leaders as Archer heads towards the far end of the middle sector. He's got Millington, Silth and Ramsell right behind them. Carlos still not out of pit lane as here comes Goudet. Carlos has gone off the limiter, and here comes Goudet. It's going to be close, it's going to be tight, but Carlos gets the job done, and that was the mistake I think John Goudet made. He just allowed Carlos the free air. He clearly had more pace, and now he leads this race. Old Sim Racer's come out and not done his stops, so that's going to frustrate him. Oh, the leaders are coming into the first couple of corners. Oh no, what's happened to Millington? Oh no, sorry, they're in the final sector. So Archer continuing on through. He's got one more lap really, and everyone else is coming into the pits. Old Sim Racer will need to pit again, and obviously clearly forgot to put that 1 litre of fuel in the car. So Carlos now leading this race. Herbert ahead of Tordock. O'Reilly has caught them up, with Skunky not too far behind them. Friedman meanwhile going around the outside of Ramey Fernie. Orm Friedman's missed his brakes, gone deep into the corner. Actually, I think he's had a little help in there from Fernie, and holds the positions, and Fernie drops down as well. And if I think we look on Duffin, obviously the damage done to his car, every time he seems to hit the brake, I think he's got a flicker of lights as Smith is into the pits. Let's have a look, see here if he hits the brakes. Looks okay actually. Possibly a little flicker or something on his lights, so probably not helping him out for overall sight. As we can see here, Herbert now under pressure from Tordock, and O'Reilly's dropped right off him. Meanwhile, they are going to clear a couple of cars here as they all come off the limiter. Silth now comes out. And Herbert, Tordok and O'Reilly have jumped a lot of cars there. Silth has dropped down, so has Ramsel, and they come into the middle of this squabble. Old Sim Racers decided to carry on and deal with the penalty. So Will Friedman, fastest lap of the race to his name now. And into the pits comes Archer. Carlos though leading the way ahead of Goudet, Herbert and Tordok right behind one another. O'Reilly also trying to hunt them down. And the rest of the pack follows on through. Will Friedman just ahead of these three. And yeah, just a little flicker there from Duffin's lights there. So a little bit of front end damage to his cars. Fernie now in the slipstream behind the Alpine of Cummins as they head towards the left-hander. And Fernie there can't quite get far enough alongside to get the job done on Cummins. The pit window is now closed, and Old Sim Racer has got a penalty coming his way because he did not pit within the window. So loads of fights still going on. Johnson up the inside by the looks of things of Smith, but he can't quite get it. Yes, he does. He's going to get it done on the outside, and Smith bounces over the curb, and Johnson makes the position up. Archer coming out of pit lane now, and where is he? He's halfway down, so not worked out for him there. He's going to drop down the order big time as Tordok has now got past Herbert. So as Herbert made a mistake somewhere, O'Reilly's trying to hustle the leaders as well. Skunky head of Silth. Silth's going to try and come back in. Will Friedman pulling away from these guys as Old Sim Racer has passed Duffin. Meanwhile, further back, Fernie's defending from Cummings. Cummings to the outside, and also just behind them is Clouden. Fernie's gone deep. Cummings up the inside, and will Clouden go around the outside? No, he chooses better not to attack, but he is going for it. He's up the inside, and job done. He's got past the Ginetta. And he's onto the grass, and Fernie goes off into the gravel, and that's another position lost to Millington. Luckily, he's got a bit of a gap to Unsworth and Archer, so he's holding on. Meanwhile, Carlos comes into the chicane ahead of Goudet. Goudet's got a nice healthy gap between these guys. Just in the background is Skunky. He's able to defend from Silth by the list of things, and Silth looking to try and come back at the Mercedes-Benz. They're close to one another. Oh, Herbert there just sliding a little bit through the right-hander there, and O'Reilly still just can't quite get close enough. Seems to just be struggling possibly with braking. From what I was told, the McLaren just seems to have no real good braking underneath it. It's very good in a straight line, but not a lot of braking. And Silth has already done Skunky, so Skunky struggling at this stage here. As Silth goes past, Friedman's now onto the back of him. And Jamal Clouden now looking to attack Cummings. He's on the rear end. Cummings has gone deep, and that's going to give the position to Clouden. Millington looking to the outside, but he can't find a way through at this stage. He was at Archer's gone wide. Unsworth is now looking to make a move on him, as we got Wright attacking Hibbs, who's attacking Tipping. So fights happening up and down the order. Oh, and there goes Taylor. He goes a bit deep, and through goes Johnson. But O'Reilly now has got Herbert. So Herbert's made another mistake somewhere, or just been out-dragged by the McLaren, and O'Reilly is up into P4. So position gained there for O'Reilly. What else is going on? Old Sim Racer still trying to hustle the back of Ramsel, but can't quite do so at the minute. Duffin pulling away from Jamal Clouden, who's got Alistair Cummins behind him, Stephen Millington as well, Raimi Fernie, Unsworth, and there's a whole gaggle of cars here. Hibbs and Wright onto the back of these artists. We'll go on board with Wright. Oh, and Archer's going wide. And Hibbs tries to net the three-door, and he does manage to get his way through past Archer. A brilliant move there. Around the outside goes Wright on Archer, and Archer falls behind. Oh, and Wright just lay on the brakes there. He gets very close to the Ginetta and the Mercedes, and Hibbs once again another position gained. So Hibbs capitalizing on those mistakes there and gaining the positions that are needed. Meanwhile, O'Reilly tries to hunt down Tordok, but I think it's going to be tricky to do so because Carlos is on his final lap. up towards turn number 1. There you go. Goes Carlos Goudet in a solid P2. Tordok in P3, holding off O'Reilly at the minute. 1 lap to go. He possibly could still do it. Silth and Friedman have got past Skunky. Skunky's dropped down another position there. Ramsel in a P9 and all on his own. Well, Old Sim Racer is now under pressure from Duffin. Jamal Clouden still hasn't dropped the Alpine behind him, and it is pretty much back to this fight with Hibbs and Tipping, as all the drivers are pretty spread out at this stage. Guys, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And if anything, I think John Goudet has brought the gap down ever so slightly to Carlos, but it's too little too late at this stage. As Carlos is driven quite a sensible race there. He's mind his own business, not got involved in any silly incidents, and just stuck to the back of Goudet. And once he pitted, that was the mistake that Goudet made it. As Duffin is past Old Sim Racer, but he's under pressure here from Jamal Clouden as it goes to the left-hander. Deep goes Duffin, but Clouden's going to be patient, but we have to return back to our race leader. Carlos is pitting. Why is Carlos pitting? He's in pit lane. I'm not sure why. Oh, no, he's not. He's gone wide. He went deep. Oh, Carlos wins the race. Sorry, he looked like he was going pit lane. Carlos wins the race ahead of Goudet. Third will go the way of Tordok. P4 for O'Reilly. P5 for Herbert. P6 for Silth. Friedman is going to finish ahead of Skunky for 7 and 8. Ninth is going to be the way of Ramsel. Meanwhile, Duffin, has he held off Clouden? Yes, he has. Duffin will stay in 10th place position ahead of Jamal Clouden. Old Sim Racers dropped it, so Cummings moves up to 12th. Millington up into 14th. 30 into 14th. 15th is Unsworth. 16th is Hibbs, followed by Wright, followed by Tipping. And then it is going to be Archer who crosses the line ahead of Old Sim Racer, who has a 130-second time penalty, ahead of Hunt, Stardog, Taylor, Johnson, Smith, Aberdeen, Marston in 27th. 28th is Vesely, and Wheel in 29th position. That was the first race. Chris Danes in the sack. Come on, Matt, and just missed the start of that one, mate, and we'll be back pretty shortly for the feature race. But Carlos wins that one ahead of John Goudet, ahead of Tordok. We'll be back in a few moments' time as the drivers will take a few minutes break, as will I, and we'll be back shortly for the feature race. Guys, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and we have just got our end of our practice session underway here. It was only 10 minutes, and I hope you're all back and ready for some more action as we're about to go into the 5-minute qualifying session. Championship standing looks like this. Tulldog leading the way by 10 points ahead of O'Reilly after the sprint race. Silf now sitting in that third place position with Friedman 37 points behind the leader in fourth place. Fifth is Herbert, while Clouden is in P6. O'Brien P7 with Hunt in P8. Duff in P9 with Hibbs in P10. Unsworth in P11, Wright P12, Ramsell P13 with McGowan in 14th, Carlos 15th now with that race win to his name, with Skunky in 16th, Myers in 17th, while Rock is in 18th, Goudet 19th, Fernie in 20th, 21st is Cumming, Stardog 22nd with Old Sim Racer in 23rd. A lot of drivers exiting pit lane, and I'll try and get one of the early leaders if we possibly can. Cummings in 31st, Stardog 22nd, Old Sim Racer 23rd, Johnson 24th, while Taylor is 25th, while in 26th is Millington. Marston in 27th with Tipping in 28th, Aberdeen in 29th with Smith in 30th, 31st is Gary Leach, while 32nd is Vestley, Betterson 33rd, Jackal 34th, Archer 35th, and Wheel in 36th, Clarball 37th with Andrews in 38th position. Teams Championship looks like this. MSA still lead the way with Greasy Bandits in second, Unknown Racing in P3 with Old School Racers P4, Quantum Motorsport in P5, while P6 is SimPlay Racing. Can Racing is P7, while Piston Pumpers are in P8, Team Tom in P9, Blunt Force Racing in P10, Piston Pounders in 11th, Audio Sport in P12, with our Road Runner Motorsport in 13th, RBGT Team in P14, 15 is Old Git Racing, 16 is Star Wolf Racing, and Cloud9 in 17th place position. And that is the order as they are all starting to come around the far end of the lap. Who is the first car up there? I'm trying to see. I think it's, what is that? That is the 442, I think. 442? Oh, it's not Carlos because he's in pit lane. Is it the 443? So it is Silth who is the first car out on the track, and he is going to be setting the benchmark. Let's try and get a car closer to the back of the pack so we can get a lap time with a driver. We will go on board with Hibbs. So Hibbs is going to take us a lap around this fantastic circuit here at the Indianapolis circuit, and through out of the final corner we go. Down the main straight, obviously going the wrong way round of the Indy 500 layout as we head down towards turn number 1 as Hibbs trying to get his car to the maximum RPM as he possibly can, braking just he comes down towards turn number 1, possibly dropping down into second, possibly first gear, and work way through turn 1 into turn 2. Tricky section as it comes at you pretty fast into 3, braking in a corner into 4. The car will want to understeer and then oversteer through the corner. Run wide through the GP loop down towards 5. Pretty much flat through here, then brake it again in an awkward corner into 6. A long sweeping left-hander. Takes a while for the car to come round, then straight into another long sweeping right-hander. We're pretty much through the first couple sectors now as we go through 7, heading down towards 8, 9, 10 and 11. Making sure you brake at the second board, braking in a straight line, get the car to slow down to get the front end turned in. Once you get the front end turned into the apex, open it up so you can then go through the chicane, taking as much curb as you dare. But if you take too much curb, the car will bounce and lose traction. You can abuse the inside curb as much as you possibly can, running out wide as you then head towards the banking. You're going to be briefly touching the banking as you head then into the tricky final sector. Chicane coming up, braking at the 300 board, get the car stopped, then get it turned in, grip the front up, then grip the rear to make sure you get a good exit into the awkward penultimate corner. over the curb, try and run it out wide as you dare, and back on the throttle as you swoop through the final corner, heading towards back onto the banking, and on the main straight you go. And if you manage to get a decent lap underneath you, you will get a flying lap time, and Hibbs will cross the line and put it in P6, 6/10 off the ultimate fastest, which is set currently by Jamal Cloud in his Chevy Camaro, but it is looking very congested out there. A lot of guys still yet to put a lap time on the board, like Tordok, who crosses the line and goes fastest with a 43.3. Who's that just behind him? That was Jackal, and he only gets his one lap in, and that's good enough for 13. So lap time did get on the board. The number 8 car, that is Gude, so he did manage to get out. Is this a lap time that is going to count? That is the question. Into the final sector he goes. This is going to be quick and fast as we head into the final few moments here of qualifying. Time is up. This is it. Who is going to be on pole for the fourth time this season? Fingers crossed I should be back next week. Hopefully you will be. Gary Clarble would like to see you back on track. So Gude crosses the line, and it is P2 for him. A great lap time from him. Silth goes P2. O'Reilly goes P2. Now Clouden is in P3. Duffin goes P5. And Skunky goes P7. A few more cars coming in the background as we wait for those times to update. And Millington goes up there. Herbert goes into P5. Any massive lap times is what we're waiting for. Hunt's in the pit lane. Hibbs is back on there. Stardog crosses the line. He goes up a position. Matt right up there in P3. A great lap time from the little Alpine there. And coming towards the line there, that was Vesely. He goes into 20th position. And out of the final corner comes Hibbs now in the Mercedes-Benz. What can he do? He only does 14th place position. There's Will Friedman as well. What has Friedman managed to do? As I return to the Pearson, Friedman only 7th in the end. So it is Tardok on pole position with O'Reilly alongside, and Matt Wright, the surprise qualifying there in the Alpine. Very good lap time from him. Clouden in P4, Silth in P5, Herbert P6, Friedman P7, Duff in P8, Gude with P9, Ramsel P10, Stardog in P11, Skunky P12, Cummings 13th, as Fernie will start 14th, Hibbs in 15th, Hunt in that 16th place position. So the guys will now get themselves prepped and ready to go. There is Hunt. Millington will start 17th. Unsworth in 18th. Jackal 19th. Smith 20th. Vesely in 21st. Archer 22nd. Carlos 23rd. Johnson 24th with Aberdeen in 25th. Tipping 26th. Then we got Marston in 27th. Old Sim Racer in 28th. Taylor in 29th. And Wheel bringing up the rear. As I will now get a poll going on who you think is going to take the first, who's going to take the second win of the night for the feature race. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. 45-minute race. This is going to be fast. This is going to be intense. Who is going to be the one to beat? That is the question. Tordok is looking good on the front row, but can he hold on there for the rest of the race? So we've got 10 seconds till we go on our way to the formation lap. I do like this 5-minute qualifying session. Really mixes up the grid. There is your poll for the feature race winner. So get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. But it is, you can see them already trying to get tyre temperatures into their cars. These cars don't have any tyre blankets either, so they're stone cold as they move away from the grid. Remind you as well, guys, if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up to the channel. If you do want to, and once you've done that, you'll be invited into the Discord. Once you've been invited to the Discord, You also then get the chance to then subscribe to all the things that you want to enter in the championship. Obviously, while you're there as well, there's the Patreon as well. So have a look at our Patreon as well. You sign up for £3 a month. You'll reserve your race number, priority sign-ups and events, so you will be the first ones on there. Track suggestions towards future seasons and